Hello and welcome to another edition of It's Your City. I'm Bob Crowell and I have the honor and privilege of being the mayor of what I call and what I know to be the best city in Nevada, our very own capital, Carson City. As you know, I take every couple of weeks I come on and talk a little bit about what happened at the last board of Supervisors meeting, and also some other things going on around Carson City. Let me just say that the board meeting this past October 4th was not a whole lot on that, but some interesting things that I'll talk about in a minute. But let me open by talking a little bit about the freeway a little bit. This week, or this past week, when you see this video, Congressman Mark Amodei and I paid a visit to the new director of the Nevada Department of Transportation, a gentleman named Rudy Malfabon. And the purpose was to just make sure that he knew how critical it was that the freeway bypass get completed in Carson City. And I'm pleased to announce that I don't have a firm timeline. They're going to get one of those to us, but they did tell me that the funding is available to drive the freeway all the way out to Spooner, not to complete the interchange, but they're looking at driving the freeway to Spooner and then to see when we can raise the money to complete the interchange. But in the meantime, if we can get it to the Highway 50 395 intersection, it would relieve the traffic coming off of Fairview. We also impressed upon him, and he knew of these things. He quite well aware of what's going on in Carson City, that for our own safety of people traveling on South Carson Street and in our neighborhoods, and our own quality of life, it is highly critical. It is just very critical that we complete that bypass for a number of different reasons. Not just the quality of life, but there are a number of businesses and homes that will be interrupted, that have been and will be interrupted by the construction of that freeway, and we need to make sure that it's done in a timely fashion, so to minimize that disruption. But I fully understand the pain that some of the homeowners and some of the businesses out there will be going through while they do the construction. And on that issue, I'm told that the Snyder overpass there was a glitch in the electronic bidding, and so they're thinking about rebidding that electronically, but that is on the road to getting done. And maybe on the next time you hear me on this program, I will have a better handle on exactly the times that that NDOT is looking at completing, at least down to Highway 50 and Spooner, or Highway 50 and 395, excuse me. So, but it was a good meeting, and we came away with a positive feeling. You hear a lot about the north-south problems, money going to the north, money going to the south, and things like that. But from the best we can tell, and from the NDOT director, none of that is at play with the construction or the finalization of the freeway bypass in our community. Let me also talk a little bit about some things that happened at the board meeting. One of the things that was raised by Chief Giomi, who was our acting city manager, because the city manager was a course learning on some new things going on in public works area. The issue came up that the chief Chief Giomi wanted us to look at was a street naming policy, and it's not necessarily so much as who a street is named after, but more how we go about naming streets to better facilitate emergency response, so that we don't have confusing or conflicting names that are put out over dispatch. It's a way to try and standardize, or at least make it easier for our first responders to respond to an address around our community where there's no confusion in the address. If we do this, and I suspect that we probably will do something like this, it will not affect current homes. It'll only be prospective policy going forward. But again, it is not designed to try and eliminate one person's desire for a street to be named this or that. Those problems will still be there. What this is primarily generated at is making sure that we have some form of consistency and some form of standards that allow our first responders easy access in case they need to access an address in our community. The end result of that was that there were some recommendations to Chief Jomey to bring that back to make sure that it was not being applied retroactively, and to also provide some waiver factors if those are appropriate in a given situation. So we'll be bringing that back probably maybe in the next board meeting, but maybe in November. While we were at the board meeting, we also heard an update from the Tahoe Prosperity Committee, which is a committee created among the communities at Tahoe to spur economic development in the Lake Tahoe Basin. That committee generally operates in the watershed area for Lake Tahoe, but they are quite knowledgeable and quite aware that Lake Tahoe is a regional asset and not just an asset on its own, which is a very positive step, because a large part of how we market our community here, Carson City, and is its position in northern Nevada. And you'll hear me talk a lot about the need to, one, we have to take care of our own community, there's no doubt about it, but we also need to understand that we're in a region, and we all benefit if we can make our entire region more prosperous. And so it was a good briefing from the Tahoe folks, and I look forward to seeing more work that they do. Again, if Tahoe is a big draw for people wanting to come here, from not only people who want to live here, but visitors who want to come here. Visitors may want to go to Tahoe but stay in Carson City, and obviously families who want to come, and others who want to come and live in Carson City, where it's right next door to Lake Tahoe. Well, I'm talking about the issue of regional approaches. I don't know if I mentioned this on one of my earlier programs, but late last month I attended a meeting with the Lieutenant Governor that was put on by the Olympic Committee that was studying putting together a bid for the Winter Olympics in around the 2020 time range. And the United States, as we understand it, the United States Olympic Committee has decided not to bid on the time that our Olympic Committee was looking to bid. And in the meantime, the Olympic Committee, since it has a lot of information, it's gathered a lot of information, and it has a lot of organizational structure to it, wants to meet and has been meeting with local governments and others affected, the businesses and otherwise, in the region, to see if there's an appetite to create a regional sports commission that would help drive sports tourism issues in the entire region of where we are. The initial meeting was pretty well received. I think everybody understands that sports brings a large amount of revenue to our community, and it's a big deal. And if we can partner with our regional neighbors to facilitate bringing sports events into our area, that's only a positive. On the other side of that, I want to make sure that everybody knows that, at least from my perspective, that it's also important that while we push on sports tourism from a revenue standpoint, an economic development standpoint, it's also important that we maintain our parks and recreation facilities for use by our local folks as well. And that's very, very important that we do that. And there's a balance that we're if we haven't not there, we'll be getting there pretty soon, about making sure that we don't overuse the parks for lack of a better word, professional sports or sports tourism to the detriment of our local community organizations that want to use those fields as well. So I understand the sensitivity of that issue, and if you have concerns about that, feel free to let me know. While we're talking about upcoming things, and there'll be another meeting of the Regional Sports Authority, I think later in this month of October. We'll have our businesses and our chamber folks and our Convention and Visitors Bureau sit on those meetings to make sure that we're plugged in, so we know what's going on, and hopefully help participate and be a regional player in sports tourism. So we'll see where that goes. Let me just say that On other things that are coming up here, as I mentioned the last time I was speaking, the Vietnam Veterans Traveling Wall, Memorial Wall, will be coming for Nevada Day, and I think it gets here on October 24th. If you are a veteran and you want to sign up, a Vietnam veteran, and you want to sign up for watch duty, you should contact someone at the local chapter 388 at the Vietnam Veterans of the Vietnam Veterans Association of America. And you can, and if you can't find that, I think that's on the website, but if you can't, you can always send me a note and I can send it on to Rick Arnold, who's the president of our local chapter. But I look forward to having the memorial come to Carson City. As I mentioned before, it is a very healing experience to visit the memorial in person in Washington, D.C., and it's a very healing and memorable experience to see it as a traveling wall. So I'm thankful to the local Vietnam Veterans Chapter 388 for bringing that here. And while I'm talking about events of Nevada Day, that'll be a day when we will be celebrating our veterans, both past and present, and those who are associated with the veterans, their families and loved ones. Colonel Harry Ehrman, who runs Battleborn Days, I think, it's okay with me to say that, Harry, Colonel, is thinking about trying to have a B-25 bomber that's out at our airport right now, that's been there for a while, stored, it's privately owned, have that towed and put that right in the middle of Mills Park for our celebration days on Nevada Day. And so hopefully that we're going to be able to get that done, and my hat's off to the good Colonel Harry, and we'll see where we go with that one, but I think that hopefully Mills Park will be the place to go for veterans, families, and on all those who want to enjoy learning a little bit about history and helping our community. So we look forward to not just Nevada Day, the Saturday of the parade, but all the events going on around that day. Let me also conclude by saying I've gotten some emails recently here that there was a meeting about our floodplain remapping effort, and there's some concern that there's too short a notice that went out on that. I want to assure everybody that we'll do everything we can to make sure that people's voices are heard in that remapping process, because I do understand that the floodplain mapping has an effect on people's homeowners insurance. So I have not had a chance to talk with our public works folks or our storm drainage director, but I want people to know that their input on that is important, and we'll do what we can to make sure that their voices are heard. With that in mind, that concludes today's presentation, and I look forward to talking with you after the next Board of Supervisors meeting. And in the meantime, let me again tell each and every one of you, thanks for making Carson City a great place to live, work, and play. We couldn't do it without every one of your efforts, and we are a greater community because of everything that you out there in our community do. So again, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors and myself as mayor, thanks again. We'll see you in a couple weeks.